When Amara walks into any room, conversations shift. Not because she's the loudest or most animated person present, but because something in her presence signals depth and authenticity that others instinctively recognize. She doesn't demand attention, she attracts it through what cultural anthropologists call embodied authority. This isn't charisma in the traditional sense, nor is it manipulation or performance. It's something far more profound, the unconscious communication of integrated cultural wisdom. But here's what makes this fascinating from a cultural perspective. What commands respect varies dramatically across societies, yet certain underlying principles transcend cultural boundaries. The person who garners instant respect in a Japanese boardroom operates through different cultural codes than someone who commands attention in a Brazilian favela. Yet both tap into universal human recognition systems that evolved over millennia of social cooperation. Today we're exploring the deep cultural psychology of respect, not the superficial tricks or power plays, but the philosophical foundations of why certain individuals seem to carry an invisible authority that others immediately recognize and respond to. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about understanding the cultural mechanisms of respect so you can express your authentic wisdom more effectively. Respect recognition operates through what evolutionary psychologists call fast and frugal heuristics, rapid decision-making systems that helped our ancestors identify valuable allies and effective leaders. But these ancient systems now operate within complex cultural frameworks that shape how respect manifests and is recognized. Consider the concept of presence itself. In ancient Greek philosophy, this was understood as parousia, a quality of being fully present that others could sense energetically. Modern neuroscience confirms this intuition. Mirror neurons allow us to unconsciously detect when someone is genuinely engaged versus mentally elsewhere. Cultural variations emerge in how this presence is expressed and valued, but the underlying recognition remains consistent. Dr. Marina Abramovic, the performance artist, demonstrated this powerfully in her piece, "The Artist is Present," where she sat motionless for 736 hours while museum visitors took turns sitting across from her. Despite no verbal communication, participants reported profound experiences of being truly seen. This wasn't mysticism, it was the recognition of complete presence, a quality that transcends cultural boundaries while being expressed through culture-specific forms. The philosophical point here is crucial. Respect isn't earned through performance but recognized through authenticity. People who command instant respect have aligned their external expression with their internal reality in ways that others unconsciously detect as genuine. Different cultures have evolved distinct respect languages, behavioral codes that signal wisdom, competence, and trustworthiness. Understanding these codes isn't about manipulation but about effective cultural communication. In Nordic cultures, understated competence commands respect. Bjorn, a Swedish engineer, gains authority through precise, economical communication and demonstrated expertise rather than self-promotion. His cultural background values Jantelagin, the idea that individual accomplishment should benefit the collective rather than elevate the self. When he speaks in meetings, others listen because his rare contributions consistently add value. Contrast this with West African griotic traditions, where respect flows to those who can weave together storytelling, historical knowledge, and community wisdom. Kofi, whose grandmother was a griot, naturally commands attention through his ability to connect current challenges to ancestral wisdom and community narratives. His respect comes not from individual expertise but from his role as a cultural knowledge keeper. Neither approach is superior, but both demonstrate how respect recognition operates through culture-specific authenticity. The individuals who command instant respect aren't performing culturally appropriate behaviors. They're expressing genuine aspects of themselves through their culture's respect languages. Here lies the central paradox. The more consciously you try to command respect, the less likely you are to achieve it. This is because respect recognition systems evolved to identify authentic leadership qualities, not performed ones. What appears effortless actually represents years of internal development that naturally manifests as external authority. Philosophical traditions across cultures recognize this paradox. Lao Tzu wrote about Wu Wei, acting without forcing, leading without coercing. Marcus Aurelius explored how true leadership emerges from self-mastery rather than dominion over others. These aren't abstract concepts but practical descriptions of how authentic authority develops and is recognized by others. Consider Isabella, a hospital administrator who gained legendary status among both staff and patients. She never raised her voice, never invoked her title, yet everyone sought her guidance during crises. Her authority came from what Aristotle called phronesis, practical wisdom combined with ethical character. She had developed the ability to see situations clearly, act decisively, and consider consequences that others missed. This wasn't performance, it was the natural expression of cultivated wisdom. The cultural insight is that different societies provide different paths for developing and expressing this authentic authority, but the underlying process remains consistent: internal development that manifests as external recognition. Recent research reveals the sophisticated unconscious systems through which we detect and respond to authentic authority. Dr. Susan Fisk's work on social cognition shows that humans rapidly assess two primary dimensions: competence and warmth. But cultural programming determines how these assessments occur and what behaviors signal each quality. Our brains process thousands of micro-signals: vocal tone, posture, facial expressions, response timing, to create split-second judgments about someone's trustworthiness and capability. People who command instant respect have unconsciously optimized these signals through authentic development rather than conscious manipulation. Here's where culture becomes crucial. The same micro-behaviors can signal competence in one context and incompetence in another. Direct eye contact might signal confidence in American business culture but disrespect in certain East Asian contexts. The key isn't learning universal behaviors but developing genuine qualities that can be authentically expressed through any cultural framework. Helena, a diplomat who works across multiple cultural contexts, commands respect in diverse settings not by changing her personality but by expressing consistent internal qualities: deep listening, thoughtful consideration, genuine care for outcomes, through culture-appropriate channels. Her respect comes from authenticity filtered through cultural intelligence. Cultures that have studied respect and authority for millennia offer profound insights into its development. The Confucian concept of Junzi describes someone who has integrated knowledge, virtue, and social responsibility into a coherent way of being. Hindu traditions speak of dharma, living in alignment with one's authentic nature and cosmic responsibility. These aren't moral prescriptions but descriptions of developmental states that others naturally recognize and respect. What's philosophically interesting is how these traditions understand respect as a byproduct rather than a goal. The Junzi seeks wisdom and virtue. Respect follows naturally. The person living Dharma aligns with their authentic nature. Authority emerges as a consequence. This explains why forced attempts to command respect typically fail. They focus on external outcomes rather than internal development. True respect recognition systems evolved to identify individuals who had developed beyond self-serving concerns toward broader wisdom and capability. Consider Thomas, a community organizer whose suggestions are consistently adopted by groups with diverse perspectives. His influence doesn't come from position or persuasion skills but from his genuine ability to see situations from multiple viewpoints while maintaining focus on collective well-being. This capacity developed through years of internal work, not leadership training. While the underlying recognition systems remain consistent, cultures have evolved dramatically different ways of expressing and acknowledging respect. Understanding these variations prevents misinterpretation and enables more effective cross-cultural communication. Japanese kata traditions emphasize perfected form and disciplined practice. Hiroshi, a master craftsman, commands respect through decades of refined skill and dedication to excellence. His authority manifests through precise movements, attention to detail, and the quiet confidence that comes from mastery. In Japanese culture, this dedication to craft naturally generates respect. Indigenous Australian concepts of old people reflect respect for those who carry cultural knowledge and wisdom regardless of formal position. Mary, an Aboriginal elder, commands attention when she speaks because community members recognize her role as a keeper of important cultural information. Her respect comes through her relationship to ancestral knowledge rather than individual achievement. Brazilian Jeitinho culture respects those who can navigate complex social situations with creativity and relationship skills. Carlos earns respect through his ability to find solutions that honor multiple perspectives while maintaining social harmony. His authority comes from social intelligence and cultural fluency. Each culture provides legitimate pathways to authentic authority, but all require genuine development rather than superficial performance. Contemporary culture presents unique challenges for developing and expressing authentic authority. Social media creates pressure for performed authenticity, while globalization means we must navigate multiple cultural respect codes simultaneously. The result is often confusion about what genuine respect looks like in modern contexts. The philosophical challenge is maintaining authentic development while adapting to rapidly changing cultural contexts. This requires what I call meta-cultural competence, the ability to recognize and work with different respect systems while maintaining consistent internal development. Modern individuals who command respect across diverse contexts share certain qualities. They listen more than they speak. They consider long-term consequences of decisions. They maintain consistent values while adapting their expression, and they focus on contributing value rather than gaining recognition. Zara, a technology entrepreneur, commands respect in Silicon Valley boardrooms, community organizing meetings, and international conferences. Her authority doesn't come from code switching between different personas but from expressing consistent core qualities, curiosity, systems thinking, and genuine concern for impact. through whatever cultural framework she encounters. The development of respected authority requires what ancient Greeks called eudaimonia, flourishing through the expression of one's authentic nature and highest capabilities. This isn't about becoming someone different, but about becoming more fully yourself while developing wisdom and competence. The process involves several key elements. First, developing genuine expertise or wisdom in areas that matter to others. This can't be faked or performed. It requires actual development of knowledge, skill, or insight that creates value. Second, aligning your external expression with your internal reality. People unconsciously detect incongruence between what someone projects and who they actually are. Third, cultivating what Buddhists call metta, genuine care for the well-being of others. This isn't sentiment but practical concern for outcomes that benefit broader communities rather than just personal interests. Fourth, developing emotional regulation and response flexibility that allows you to remain centered during challenging situations. These qualities develop through practice and reflection rather than training programs or techniques. They represent genuine growth that naturally manifests as respected authority. The psychology of instant respect reveals something profound about human nature. We've evolved sophisticated systems for recognizing authentic wisdom and capability. These systems transcend cultural boundaries while operating through culture-specific expressions. The practical implication is both simple and challenging. The path to respected authority lies through authentic development rather than performance or manipulation. Different cultures provide different pathways for this development, but all require genuine growth in wisdom, competence, and concern for others. This doesn't mean abandoning cultural adaptation or strategic communication. It means developing genuine qualities that can be authentically expressed through whatever cultural context you encounter. The individuals who command instant respect haven't learned tricks or techniques. They've developed into people worth respecting. Their authority emerges naturally from who they've become rather than what they've learned to perform. Your journey toward authentic authority begins with honest self-assessment. What genuine value do you offer others? How consistently do your actions align with your stated values? What aspects of yourself need development to support the leadership you wish to provide? These questions don't have quick answers, but engaging with them seriously begins the process of becoming someone who naturally commands the respect of others through authentic presence rather than performed charisma. The respect you seek from others begins with becoming someone you genuinely respect yourself. If this exploration of respect psychology resonated with you, subscribe for more insights into how cultural forces shape human interaction, and share your observations about authentic authority in the comments below. Understanding these dynamics helps us navigate social complexity with greater wisdom and effectiveness.